Hey guys, and welcome back to Mormonade. It's been a few weeks since we've posted an actual video, but we were away in California visiting family, vacation, and we've just been trying to get back into the swing of things this week. So today's video is going to be on polygamy. The Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, otherwise known as FLDS, was formed in the 20th century when its founders left the LDS, or the Mormon Church. They left because the practice of polygamy was banned in the LDS Church, and they did not agree with this decision. Then they formed their own organization and called themselves by many names, but finally adopted the FLDS name in 1991.
So the FLDS Church is one of the largest religions that practices polygamy today. In many instances in the past, the FLDS Church has been confused with the LDS Church. The difference between the two is polygamy. Polygamy is the marriage of one man to two or more women. And polygamy is what you hear on popular TV shows such as Sister Wives or Big Love. And usually, if Mormons are mentioned on some crime TV show, it's usually in connection with polygamy. So there's a lot of misconceptions about Mormons and polygamy. In this video, we're not degrading another religion. We're simply trying to talk about the difference between FLDS and LDS and what we as Mormons believe.
So now to explain a little bit about the history of the LDS's church and practice of polygamy. In a news conference by a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, who we've talked about for the LDS Church, his name being Elder Quentin L. Cook, said in regards to the practice of polygamy that it was a significant part of our distant past, not of our present. In other words, we do not practice polygamy anymore because we accept that revelation can change throughout time. Joseph Smith received revelation from God that polygamy should be practiced in the church. It was instituted in the 1840s among the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and continued for over 50 years. Today, however, in 2017, polygamy is 100% not allowed in the LDS Church. Those who are found practicing it are excommunicated from the church.
So we don't understand all of the reasons that polygamy was instituted. Like with many things in the LDS Church, we have to just walk by faith. The Book of Mormon, though, provides one reason that God may have commanded this, meaning polygamy. We believe it's possible that it was commanded to increase the number of children born in the gospel covenant in order to, quote, raise up seed unto the Lord. And trust me, we get how weird that sounds, because it really does sound like God was breeding us or something. But the truth is, polygamist marriages definitely increased the amount of kids born into LDS families, which was hugely influential for helping the growth of the church, not just in like the number of members, but in what the church was capable of accomplishing. It shaped the 19th century Mormon society immensely. The line between rich and poor blurred as women married into more financially stable situations, and marriage between differing ethnicities increased, which helped create unity within an extremely diverse immigrant population.
You might be listening to all this information and wondering how husbands and wives in these kinds of marriages felt. There are many diary entries left behind by these men and women where they talked about the immense challenges and difficulties that they faced. Things like financial issues, interpersonal struggles, and some women who really felt heartbroken because of the desire they had for the companionship of their husbands. But the marriages weren't all bad, of course. These same diaries record the happiness and joy that were also present in these families. Since these men and women knew that what they were doing was a commandment of God at the time, they understood that through obedience to that commandment, that it would bring them blessings and also bless future generations.
So during the time that polygamy was practiced, all LDS members were expected to accept polygamy as a commandment and revelation from the Lord. But not everyone was expected to practice it. Church leaders considered polygamous marriage as a commandment for the church in general, but they recognized that people who did not enter into a polygamous marriage could still be considered righteous before God. Women were free to choose who they married, to choose either a polygamous or a monogamous marriage, or even not to marry at all. Some men entered plural marriage because LDS church leaders asked them to, and others entered these marriages because they personally decided to. However, every single polygamous marriage was required to be approved by church leaders before it was officiated.
Now, maybe you're wondering whether the women in the church were really on board with this whole idea of polygamy and multiple marriages. I don't think that Jess, for instance, would like the idea of me being married to other women. Leaders at the time took this into consideration and understood that polygamous marriages could be really trying for the women of the church. Divorce was available to women who were unhappy with their marriage, and remarriage was also a given option.
So starting in 1862, the government passed laws to prohibit polygamy. People that weren't LDS were launching campaigns against polygamy, claiming that they wanted to protect Mormon women and the civilization of America. Their hearts were probably in the right place. After all, in today's society, we pity those women who are rescued from camps when they've been forced into polygamous marriages at obscenely young ages. But many LDS women at the time publicly defended the practice of plural marriage, arguing in statements that they were willing participants. So these women wanted to follow the commandment they had been given, and they acted courageously during a time when women were still seen as property. For them to take a stand and voice their opinions to government officials who wanted to take away their rights was extremely brave.
Now, by the late 1800s, the society of the LDS Church had become filled with really incredible members of the church who were mostly immigrants from Europe and the East Coast and the United States. But overall, the demographics of the church across the world had started to change. People who joined the church outside of the United States were asked that instead of moving to Utah, they try to help others in their home countries come to Christ and be baptized. Since plural marriage had never been encouraged outside of the LDS-centered areas of the world like Utah, monogamous families became central to religious worship and learning. As the LDS Church continued to grow and expand outside of Utah and other Midwestern states, the normal one husband and one wife family was more suitable.
For a lot of people who practiced it, polygamous marriage was a serious sacrifice. My grandmother's grandmother, who was named Elizabeth Ford, but she went by Lizzie, was the second wife in a polygamous marriage. She faced a lot of the challenges that we've already talked about, but especially struggles in the emotional area of her marriage. Her husband's first wife was not a fan of Lizzie and made Lizzie's life really difficult at times. I can only imagine how heartbreaking and frustrating Lizzie's marriage must have been for her, but I'm so grateful that she chose to follow the counsel of the prophet, because without her marriage, I probably would not have grown up as a member of the LDS Church, and I wouldn't have been able to meet Jake and start my own eternal family. And my family isn't the only one that's been blessed by the dedication and faith of the members who came before us. There are tons of members of the LDS Church today who can trace their family history back to a polygamous marriage. The sacrifices made by Lizzie, along with hundreds of other women and men, have led to a huge amount of future generations being blessed by the gospel in their lives.
Now, this part is pretty important, if not the most important. So if you take away nothing else from this video or this week's video, listen up to this. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are no longer permitted to practice polygamy, and that we are different than the fundamental Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Polygamy is completely 100% forbidden. Like we said earlier in this video, those found practicing polygamy are excommunicated from the church.
Alright, so we're going to end this week's video here and let Zoe give her special message to you guys.
Hey guys, so make sure to submit your questions about the Mormon Church to the link in the description below this video. Like this video and share it with your family and friends on social media. Like our Facebook page too, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And be sure to subscribe to our newsletter on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for watching, and make sure to see our video next week.